is.
Please tell her I said hi.
Okay.
I'm just, she'll see the picture too, because I'll send it to her, because that's primarily why I initially took it, is because his Angular sisters love him. So,
Oh, roll call. I must begin
You're
to
still
do roll
doing the
call.
same?
oh yeah,
Oh,
once
yeah.
a week during the winter, twice a week on the summer, because the marina.
I'm singing that maximum.
Today? Yeah. So you have such a beautiful voice.
Karaoke superstar, my Bob.
Yep, that's what they call me.
I remember, I can't remember the country singer, you went with your mom, and they had you up there singing, I'm proud to be an American.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You've always been in the spotlight, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Some people just have all the zest, you know?
Yep.
All right, it's 5:30. We're going to start.
Alrighty.
I'd like to call to order the Community Development, Economic Development, Park and Recreations Committee meeting to order. I'm going to do the roll call today since Stacy's not present. I'm here. Mrs. Mills,
Here.
Mrs. Holman,
Present.
Mr. Temenier,
Here.
and Mrs. Milberg is absent. So I want to welcome our visitors, Catherine Colgren and Becky Donaldson. And we're going to start with a special guest presentation from Becky Donaldson from the Nature Conservancy. So take it away.
Great, thanks. So I'm subbing for Kari Warner from the Nature Conservancy, and she's a colleague and Blackbrook Audubon member. So I'm the current president of Blackbrook Audubon. I wear a couple of hats. I live in Eastern Lake County. I am an adopted Ashtabula resident because I'm in Ashtabula County a lot for work. I professionally have a couple jobs in natural resources, so I wear those hats as well. I work for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources in the Division of Natural Areas and Preserves, and I'm in the Scenic Rivers program. So Ashtabula River is one of our scenic rivers, one of my scenic rivers, one of your scenic rivers, and I do oversee the stream quality monitoring program. But I'm always listening for birds, so I'm birding everywhere I go, even in the parking lots, wherever I'm at. I'm in and out of the classrooms a lot professionally, and my other side gig job is for the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. I've been the Menor Marsh naturalist in Central Lake County since 2008, so that's been my part-time job while I rose up my kiddo, and now I have my big girl job full-time with ODNR, and birding is everywhere around the edges. So I volunteer for Blackbrook Audubon, and I'll talk about Blackbrook in a minute as well. So this was in the packet. This is the things that Kari put together. Who is a birder? It's not just backyard birders. Usually when we call birding or birders, it's people that travel further from home to bird. So you can be a backyard birder. But really, this particular presentation, this came from Fish and Wildlife Service, who had a really great 2022 economic impact of birders and birding in the United States. So this is their definition. 2022, there were 96 million birders, so that's a huge economic impact, especially if they're traveling to go somewhere. And these are adults, and it makes up 30% of Americans we consider birders. Some of those other outdoor activities, fishing and hunting, don't even, they pale in comparison to the birding industry. And so, whether we're buying binoculars, or just casually observing birds wherever we're at. There's ways that we can track the birding and birders, whether it's the economic expenditures, and you see that $108 billion attributed just in 2022 for bird watching as compared to $99 billion. And I know along the lakefront we like to talk about our fishing resources, and whether it's steelhead fishing in the Ashtabula River or out on the lake, that's a really big industry in Ohio, but so is birding. And then $45 billion for hunting. And you guys can look up these, this Fish and Wildlife Service link that's in here, and it's in this packet. It's a really great resource for some of this economic numbers as well. So how do we track birders? We use a free app, it's called eBird, that you actually can log what birds you find. So it's citizen science. We can see who birded in Ashtabula County today. You can go on eBird and check out checklists to see what people are seeing. So sometimes we can track what birds are where if you want to go look at them. But we enter when we saw the birds, where we're at, and if we were walking or if we were traveling in our car birding, because sometimes we call that butt birding, where you just get in and you travel all the way down 11 and count all the birds that you see along 11. And so, you say, I went X number of miles, and these are the birds that I saw. And then sometimes it's birding by ear as well. So if you're good enough for that, you can log your birding. But you could see Ohio is 8th in the nation of checklists. And so we have a fairly big population in Ohio, so that makes sense. A lot of these other states that are listed are also large population states. But it's really big business in Ohio. And, could be bigger here in Ashtabula, which is the point of me being here tonight. When do we watch birds? We watch them all year round. And you guys recognize this character? So Dave Joyce birded with us. This is Walnut Beach. This is in, I think, 2021. He is a big supporter, and he came into this role in Steve LaTourette's role for Great Lakes Protection Fund. So some of the Walnut Beach restoration funding came out of GLRF funding. And so he would like to visit. This was on his break. It was at the end of August, so he was home for Labor Day. So he was visiting some of these grant-funded, federal grant-funded places that make birding awesome along our lakefront. And of course, it's in his home territory, so he came to visit us at Walnut Beach, and we had a really great morning of birding. He birded, I think, the couple years prior with us as well. The first time we were in Lake County at Veterans Park, and I think the second time, or maybe the first time we were at Menor Marsh, and then Veterans Park, and then this third year we came to Walnut Beach, and it was a Black Brick Audubon sponsored, and Audubon had their Great Lakes lobbyist do all their arranging to bring him here to showcase, what happens when we improve habitat, and how that helps the birds, and then how that helps the community bring folks in to bird and ultimately enjoy our community and spend resources here. So when do we bird? Year-round, even in the winter. On the lakefront, it could be pretty brutal in the winter, but that's when a lot of rarities show up along the lakes too. We have some, Jaeger is a name of a predatory bird, and it's actually parasitizes. It steals other prey, whether it's fish from other, like gulls or whatever. But certainly we have a ton of bald eagles that come to the lakefront over the winter time to fish. At this particular outing, we saw an osprey too, so it was pretty fun to show Dave that too. And the first time, I think it was, gosh, we must have done the Veterans Park in Mentor walk with him first, and he had never looked through binoculars, so that's really fun. He's a conservation advocate as a lawmaker, which is really nice. But then to put this tool in his hands to say, look, Dave, this is this kind of bird, which is always fun. We like to get binoculars in everybody's hands as much as we can. So part of the reason I'm here today is to talk about how we can develop more birding opportunities for folks in the community here in Ashtabula. So this is just, the background is we always like to support bird habitat, whether it's in our backyards or whether it's in public spaces, or helping work with nonprofits who are planting native plants, combating invasives, which both happened at Walnut Beach with some of the restoration up here. Because that brings in the birds, and then that brings the birders flocking to see those birds. There's many opportunities. I feel like we talk about plants all the time when we lead bird walks too, because that's the link. That's why the birds are there. Whether they're eating seeds or the insects that are on the plants, they're here because of the plants that are here. And this is an example of another birding. I don't know if you guys had this in your packet. Yeah, success story from Lucas and Ottawa County over in Northwest Ohio. It's called The Biggest Week in American Birding. Have you guys heard of this before? It's pretty fantastic. It started in 2010 we all birded over there. It's around McGee Marsh, which is a Division of Wildlife property, and Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, a couple hours to the west of us. And we frequently go. We spend the night. We bird multiple days. I went Thursday, Friday this May for this particular festival. And people come from all over the world to bird here because if you didn't know, Northwest Ohio is that great black swamp that it's now largely ag fields. And the birds funnel into this woodlot that's on the shore of Lake Erie, and there's marshes around. And these birds are flying. They see Lake Erie, and they think, we can't fly over that big water body. We need to sit down, eat, before we have to continue our migrations further north. So it just brings all of these birds into this small area. And they have a boardwalk, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. So if you could stand the crowds, it's really great birding. But that's the kind of thing that we like to bring over on this side too. So we call it patch birding when you go somewhere close to get that same kind of opportunity too. So in Lake County, there's lots of opportunities. And for whatever reason, I did not include my county by county breakdown here. But I think that Lake County was like, Cuyahoga County was the #1 county, and I think that's because of population. But I'm going to pull this up real quick so I could tell you guys where Ashtabula County fits versus the other counties. Ashtabula County is number 31 in the state for number of eBird checklists submitted. Actually, Lucas is #1, so that's probably that biggest week in American birding that bumps that. Franklin County #2, Cuyahoga #3, Summit #4, so in Hamilton #5. So those are all of our big cities. Ottawa's #6, that's also biggest week in American birding. Then Lorain, and then Lake County. And the interesting thing about all of those is only Franklin and Hamilton are away from the lake. All these other counties are right here on the lakefront. That's because it's really great birding in the springtime, and it's really great here too. So Kim Kaufman, the executive director of Black Swamp Bird Observatory, that came up with this biggest week in American birding. This quote comes from her, and businesses are opening early, they're extending their hours, they hire more staff. And if you didn't know, birders are really nice people too. So, we like to brag about it, but we're really nice. We don't raise hell. We tip well, and we stay overnight, which brings in the economic dollars to our communities. And she's talking about folks even buying spring birding houses.
Can I ask you one question on that?
Yeah.
Is that okay before
Yeah,
you're
totally.
at the end? Is it the same week or weekend every year?
It's
or
10 days because they try to encompass 2 weekends, and
Okay.
it's usually the first weekend through the second weekend of
May?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I birded after the official biggest week in American birding because I didn't want to be there with all the tourists, but the birding is still good. And it's always weather dependent too, so at the front side of that is a little bit harder to see really good birds if you have a really late spring. And the weather conditions can be really awful at the beginning of May still too. So I think I was there like the 16th, 17th this year, and it was pretty fantastic. So you can look up Black Swamp Bird Observatory or Biggest Week in American Birding to find more information on that. It's really fun, yeah. And I would also like to brag that we just had a second festival in Lake County. Our Lake County Visitors Bureau gave us some seed money, and we raised some other money. So a bunch of colleagues have been doing a fall birding festival. And so we do that the third weekend in September. So we just had our second annual festival this past year. And so when Kari and I were talking about this and how can we offer more birding opportunities in Ashtabula, even though this is a lake county and it's home based out of Headlands Beach State Park, and we do field trips locally in Menor and at Menor Marsh and some of the Lake Metro parks, but the way these guys started out really small is they started small, and now they have field trips that are a little bit further afar. So that's the possibility too, to do a day trip to bird in Ashtabula County. Certainly these birds are all along the lakefront. And as you get places and you don't want to bird with 1,000 people, it's nice to go somewhere else that you're not there bumping into people. So Black Brick Audubon is our local Audubon, and you know, it's near and dear to my heart. It started around Menor Marsh. In 1938 is when they first organized doing spring bird walks. So this is a picture of us birding in the spring at the edge of the marsh. But we cover Lake Geauga and Ashtabula counties. I would say that we have a lot of members in Ashtabula County. We don't really have a lot of people in Ashtabula County that participate. They're just members and aren't participatory members. But we would like to, you know, number one, get more members, but also number two, get more people from Ashtabula to come out birding with us, just so we could share some of the enthusiasm for it. We do meet in Lake County and Geauga County typically because we don't have a really great meeting place where we could have 40 to 60 people at monthly meetings. But we do a bunch of different things. We've got monthly bird walks, so we haven't done a monthly bird walk in Ashtabula County for a really long time. We're at Veterans Park and Mentor right now through the end of next summer, and that's the fourth Sunday of every month. And we have 10 to 20 plus people that come out with us, and sometimes it varies by whatever location we're at. If we're closer west, we get more people that come out of Cuyahoga County to join us too. More recently, we were in northern Geauga County, and then, you know, because I'm always a Menor Marsh advocate, before that we were at Menor Marsh, which is pretty fantastic, fun place to bird. We have every third Tuesday of every month, we have a natural history speaker, so that's coming up on the 18th of November, and it's actually somebody talking about rocks, but it's not always about birds. We just want to open people's eyes to really cool natural history, things that happen around our area. We lead a 6-week spring birdwalk series, so that's the last 3 Sundays in April, the first 3 Sundays in May, and we do that at 7:30, and we start at the north end of Menor Marsh and walk all the way out to the beach, and then bird Fairport Harbor and Headlands Dunes and Headlands Beach as well. So open lake, Fairport Harbor, Menor Marsh, and all the scrubby habitat in between is fantastic birding, and it's kind of a contest. I can't help it be a contest. It's not really a contest. It's like, let's just get out to see what we can see. But typically because of our varied habitats, of the 19 areas that bird around the greater Cleveland area for the Spring Birdwalk series, usually our spot kicks butt. It's amongst the best. We do other community events where we come table at festivals and offer different programs. I think somebody is planning to do a birding talk at the Madison Library coming up in the early winter. We just did the Ashtabula Sustainability Summit a couple weeks ago. We had folks there and did a lunch and learn talk. We also bought binoculars and distributed them to libraries in the community. So Geneva Library has a pair of binoculars, and so does Ashtabula Library. So we bought it and donated it. So folks in the community, and I don't really know, I haven't checked back in with the libraries to see how they're lending them out. But if you don't have binoculars, you could go check them out at the library and try them. So just a way to try to encourage people that maybe don't want to make the investment of buying a new pair of binoculars, but to check them out. So definitely check them out at the library if you didn't know about that. What else do I need to tell you? I have some of our Hushwing Herald. It's the Blackbrook Audubon's newsletter, so you can find out what we have going on, our upcoming talks and walks and other things going on. And then I have a flyer here as well that I could leave for you guys. Also, we were talking a little bit before the start of the meeting about the Ohio Lake Erie Birding Trail, and of course Ashtabula is on this. There's an Ashtabula Loop, and in the city, we've got, is Lakeshore Park in the city, or is that township? Yeah, but definitely Walnut Beach is one of the stops on here. So that's number 4 in the state. And how many stops do they have here? All along the lakefront. These just identified different amenities. Looks like they have 90 now. Spots so you can find out what's at this different amenity. There's a website that you could go to the website to find out this Ohio Lake Erie Birding Trail, but you could purchase one of these guidebooks as well. Ohio Division of Wildlife, and I think that, gosh, OSU Extension maybe, or Sea Grant is actually the fiscal agent for this. And Black Brook Audubon is selling them as well, so we bought a couple cases of these, and we have them at our meetings. This was $15 to buy this, so really good to branch out. And I've heard people say, we have to go bird every single one of these spots. And when you haven't been to a place, to be able to read about it before you get there. Is there going to be what are the parking lots like? Are there going to be bathrooms? What's the trails like? What's the habitat like? What birds are we going to see there? So noteworthy birds that we're going to find here. Anyways, with that, I would like to say that Black Brook Audubon would love to host events and help you in the community. I know Kari had offered as a Black Brook member and working for TNC to help lead bird walks in the city too. So,
Carrie's originally from here.
yeah, she is. Yeah, grew up.
So how do we proceed forward then?
I think that we could just do some communication. We have programs set through probably January right now. But I mean, the nice thing about if we did a program in the city is that we would have you guys help us advertise it too. So sometimes if we just say, oh, we're going to do a bird walk at Walnut Beach, we're getting our regular people coming, but not getting new people from the community coming. So whether it's through Kari or myself, we can just continue to have this conversation of how to set this up. In the past, we have offered some sometimes people from Ashtabula County say they don't want to drive into Lake County or some of our established places that we already have birding events set up because they don't want to drive that far. So how can we do this if we do it after work birding in the spring? So like a Thursday evening birding, because usually birding's really good in the mornings and the evenings. Birds are a little bit more active then. So depending on our schedules, let's slide in a couple bird walks in the spring.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. So, that's the kind of thing that we would advertise in here and, partnering with the city of Ashtabula to help bring it in the community.
Can I, so Becky, for some of the things that I do with the health department and that, we were just having conversation on these needs assessments and things we're doing and getting people to, trying to get people more active and healthier. So I'm excited about this because, notoriously it's, you're a touristy area and what do? People just go out to eat. So and different things for the parks and that is getting people to move. So when they're doing this, you're outside in nature, very therapeutic, you're moving, you're getting a little bit of exercise, exploring something different because, first I would have to look, because when you're saying birding, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I saw that one that's blue or that one's yellow or that one's, you know what I mean? So I like it. There's a lot of education that goes into this as well.
And really, group birding is such a great way to learn birds because, I could look at a bird the way it flies, and I know that that's a northern flicker because of the flight pattern, but that's how I learned, was going on bird walks where somebody opened my eyes to that, or, oh, that flash of yellow, that must mean it's
Right.
this or that.
And for young people, I was telling her, I got, I can't blow it, but a certain significant person, some binoculars, a little person of mine, some binoculars, because very interested in the outdoors and exploring. We go down the Gulf and getting leaves and that kind of stuff. So having things like this that you can have an older person like me to a little person, everybody can sort of do something you can do together. So
I have a question. What is the typical demographic of a birder? Is it? And I only say this because my girlfriend and I just joke it with each other because we feed the birds, we watch the birds, we're in our 60s,
So, okay, I'm not in my 60s. I probably started, I went to school for this, so
Okay.
my degree's in wildlife biology. So amongst the people that I work with, we've all birded our entire lives. So that's probably a little bit more unusual from the general population, but it skews a little bit older. A lot of times people retire and they are picking up a new hobby.
because you have time then.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you didn't have time before to do that. Right.
And there's this birding fest that we had in Lake County was pretty fantastic to see the wide range of folks. So families, college students from Lake Erie College, fun to see younger folks doing it too. And, that's something we want to encourage too. And there's so many things like, it's almost like Pokemon because people are trying to collect and find rare things. And not that I'm a Pokemon person, I don't really know that much about it, but
It is that kind of concept, though.
yeah.
Discovery.
Telling him, we should try and get those books to our concession stand at Walnut Beach and try and get that disseminated a little bit more, you know what I mean? That might be something, a creative way to kind of encourage that, that's what I just was telling him.
The other thing too, two ideas came to mind. The first one was, whoever said Pokemon, was actually, or something I was thinking, stamp collecting. If you folks put together some sort of a book that required people to collect, say, 20 photos on their cell phones and, show where they found them, that would get people out exploring in a more formal way because they would be going to the places where the unique birds were, and you folks could educate them as to where they could likely find them. And when people were out in the community finding them and reported them back to you, that would also help you understand where some of these other nest sites are. So I think like a stamp collecting or like photo collecting thing would be really fun, to get people out and about. And the other thing that would go hand in hand with that would be maybe a satellite of a handful of inexpensive like bird perches, viewing perches, just some wooden platforms at key locations along our lakefront where our communities are. People could go to those, and it'd just be enough to have maybe one of those binoculars on there, and just in a known area that has like a lot of activity. Because this would get people in a more formal way going, well, I'm gonna visit the 7 sites between Conneaut and Ashtabula, these little perches. If they're put in smart places like near our waterfronts and stuff, our kayakers could kayak up to them, and it would be more part of an entertainment thing too. So I think you could do that in a way that would get you more formal participation rather than just hoping people wander about.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because it's like Pokemon Go.
It is, and kids would do it, especially, theoretically, you could incentivize it, but they would probably do it for fun. Kids do book it, pizza parties, they collect these things, it's the same concept. Kids, it would get them out actively seeking, get them to different parts of our community where the nesting sites were. And I think adults would do it too, it could be a little bit more challenging, but.
So there's an app called Seek, or there's an app called iNaturalist. So Seek is just an identifying app, and it identifies anything in nature. So you could take a picture of an ant or a plant or a tree or a leaf. What kind of leaf is this? Oh my gosh, it's ginormous. What is it? Oh, that's a sycamore leaf. So Seek would identify that. So that's the AI behind iNaturalist too. And that's a citizen science project, just like eBird is, where you actually are logging things. So there could almost be some kind of project that we make within iNaturalist that's like a Ashtabula County or Ashtabula City or the Ashtabula Loop of this Ohio Lake Erie Birding Trail that is any kind of taxa. So that means, plant or animal that you would find, and that would be a fun.
It would give it a little bit more structure.
And that would be, most people have this. It's a free app. Most people have this. But then there's that, with citizen science, the nice thing is somebody's taking a picture of something, so you have a lat long, you have a location of that particular thing. But then it means something with science too. So that means that, say somebody's doing a study on, bluebirds, and they could say, oh wow, we didn't realize there were so many bluebirds at Walnut Beach, because people were getting pictures of them. And this is my camera, so I take really cruddy pictures of birds, but it doesn't matter because it's identifiable as that kind of bird. It's not gonna win any contests for, like this beautiful screech owl picture. But it puts that pin on there. And it's fun to do a contest. I do iNaturalist almost every day, and it's like a scavenger hunt for me, which is why I like it. What can I see new today?
Yeah, it has a lot of those elements, and I think that people around here, we have an economically depressed area in general where people are looking for affordable outdoor things to do.
And
so
a
to
lot
me,
of times
that's
people
perfect.
still have this,
Sure.
because we use it for safety.
You use your phone more than you use anything else, even your car or
Yeah.
your house.
Yeah, it's connected to my hand. Or I panic, where is it? If it's not in my hand. Yeah, those are some great ideas.
So how do I follow up with you after this meeting?
I can give you my email address. It's blackbrookaud, so blackbrookaud at AOL.com. And that's our, go ahead. Blackbrookaud, AUD.
AUD, okay.
At AOL.com. And that's our general email. We also have a Facebook page that you can message us there. It's just Black Brook Audubon Society. And I could give you personal contact info too.
I'll get that from you later.
Okay.
Perfect. I'm excited. Thank you for
I am
coming.
too. You're welcome. This is really
A lot of
exciting.
good information.
Kari pitched this to
Wonderful.
me late on Monday. I was like, well,
Hey, can you do this?
yeah, I could do it. So I'm glad to be here. So thank you for allowing me
Oh.
to speak and great ideas. And I think it'll be fun to be able to partner.
And then we can take
Yep.
some of these too.
Yep, I'll leave
and-
these for you guys.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm gonna dip out now.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Don't forget your USB.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have much to report. Obviously, getting into the wintertime here, we're closing down a lot of things in the park. I think we winterized the restrooms this past week. So those are all kind of closed up for the year. Starting to put a lot of stuff away. The mowers and things are now indoors and just put away for the year. Getting ready for the other season.
Very nice. Go ahead.
Question, Mr. Chimney, I know you gave the resolution to INEOS for refinishing or refreshing the park at West 38th Street. Are they going to hold on to the equipment till springtime, or when are they thinking about installing the?
It was installed today.
Oh.
Yes, so the swing set was installed today. So our guys, the equipment was delivered, we agreed to install it. So the swing set went up today. I don't think we've put the actual swings on it yet because the concrete's got to form. And the mulch is supposed to be in on Friday. We have ordered rubber mulch for that. They've also ordered the border that goes between the grass and then that mulch. That's all still has to come in. So once everything comes in, they'll put it all in and we'll be good to go.
And will they wait till spring, or they just do it during the winter?
No, we'll do it. We'll do it as soon as the stuff comes in. Yeah, it'll be fine over the winter time. Yep.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for the manager? No? Blake, did you bring the Parks and Rec report?
Tim's still, I think, working on, he may have said something preliminarily, but he was still working on, I was just gonna speak up to what we had worked on at the last meeting, if that's okay.
Can you just go to the mic, only because I don't think they can hear us at home when we're not in the mic.
Hi, Blake Hinkle, corner 16th Union, Ward 1, Parks and Rec Board. Just coming up to share what happened at the last Parks meeting. We informed everyone on the Parks Board of the vacancies, and then that was also passed on to the Clerk of Council, and then you guys did your some reappointments last meeting. The other thing was just working on the tree legislation with feedback from City Manager Tim Anier. We had unanimously voted to change some of the language per his recommendation, and we're hoping now that we voted unanimously for that we can continue to move forward and get the legislation across the finish line. So, and I spoke with Jim earlier today, and he indicated that was still the case. So we feel good about that.
It's the same that we've seen, it was just taking out
Cool. Yeah, so it looks like Jim's got something for us here anyway, so we can review that and maybe hope to get this again across the finish line. So, and thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
So, yeah, aside from that, that was kind of all we had. And with a vacancy on the board of Mike Spielman declining to be reappointed, we hope that we get some good candidates for City Manager Tim Anier to choose from. There is a vacancy, so. Other thing I wanted to mention too, kind of unrelated, but still on the topic of community. On Friday, I am showing through my Movie Appreciation Club, Home Alone 2 at Ashtabula's Library here. be from 6 to 9, and we're going to have a food truck in the parking lot selling pizza. So, and it's free for all. Everybody can come. And we're just hoping to kind of build a relationship with the library to do more civic screenings and utilize our public spaces for the people that don't take advantage of them. They see that we're still using them and being good stewards. So, it's going to be this Friday.
Friday is the 7th?
Thought it was the 6th.
I'm pulling it up right now. I could tell you. This is
Seventh.
horrible. It's November 7th, 6 to 9, Ashtabula Public Library. So, yep. And the
Did you-
dojo will be in the parking lot selling pizza.
Did you mention a title?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So everybody sees Home Alone. We figured we'd do the second one because it's cheeky. So hope to see everybody there.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just with that ordinance that I passed out, so that language I would suggest you insert into the chapter 959, so that has to deal with the parks, so that goes in there. But I would also, and I guess we can work with the solicitor's office on this, chapter 113 of our codifieds actually is all about trees, so we do have a section in our codifieds all about trees already. Excuse me. I would suggest that some notation be put in chapter 113 to refer to 95905, that the parks has its own distinction when it comes to tree rules.
So do I need to make a motion about this for it to move to council, or are we not there yet?
No, well, this particular one is fine. You could adopt this at any time if council's on board with it. So yes, you would have to move it out of committee to bring to council. I'm just suggesting that along with this, and it can be done at a later time or preferably at the same time, adding something in chapter 913 that just says, go look at 959 for trees removed in a park. I know that's really simplifying what it actual language should say, but just so in other words, when people are looking at different sections, it's cross-referenced.
So can I make that motion now? To move this to council with the chapter 113, you want to talk about it?
We haven't had time to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
So I think that's what it would do though, is I guess you could bring it back at the next month's meeting if you want to look at it then, but I think we circulated this one before though, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, just with the
Okay.
exception of the height restriction.
Right, that was the only thing that was taken out,
Oh,
so.
we didn't know if there were any changes at all.
Yeah, there was a thing in here, something about maximum height being 20 feet. Trying to police that, and I don't think that would be beneficial. So it was under A3. It was just it said something about at maturity can't be over 20 feet. So
Well, we can bring this up at the next meeting, so everybody has time to read through it.
would you like me to email this to you?
Yes?
Okay.
Please.
Maybe that gives us time too to also craft the other legislation.
Yeah, we can do the other one too.
With it, so it goes hand in hand. But, no, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
New business, brief update on 60 properties.
Very brief. So I know Cecilia brought it up at City Council. We have approximately 60 properties that were jointly owned. The majority of them were jointly owned by a husband and wife. The wife unexpectedly passed away. The husband has suffered some health issues and is now, for all intents and purposes, incapacitated. So we're taking this on as a project. Some of the properties have been the subject of complaints that have been brought before City Council, some that have been discussed just with staff. So I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that we're working on the project. As of last week, the gentleman has had a guardian appointed who will be able to make decisions about disposition of his property. The lady who passed away, her estate is being probated by the attorney over here on the corner, Sarah Lewis. So we're in touch with her. We're also engaging with the land bank for those properties that might not be rehabable, but might not need to be demolitions, well, even for some that might be rehabable. And the staff and myself are working to connect those various legal parties with potential buyers or potential developers. So if any one of these properties happens to be in one of your wards, and you hear of someone who might be interested, or you might be interested in yourself, I know Ms. Mills owns a lot of rental properties, you know, just let me know, and we'll send the information on to the group chat, I guess, for lack of a better term. And we have a master Excel spreadsheet we're working off of, and the plan is to get what we can get back into useful tax, you know, residential life, and then what we can't save, we'll demolish and clear and deal with that way.
So if somebody was interested, how would they discover the property's addresses?
So the name is Jack and Jody Lane. So if they see a property and they look on the auditor's website and Jack and Jody Lane are listed as the owners, then that's part of this. They can reach out to me or to the housing inspector, and we will.
Because I've been asked after that came up.
I know there's one right on Route 20, what do you call it here, Prospect, across from what we affectionately call Gas Station Chicken, the crispy crunchy chicken place, and it's a decent place, you know, but it's going to you know, degrade as it sits. So we've got one here, right here on Main, behind the florist. Actually, the old florist building is part of it. Yeah.
Oh.
So, and the house that's directly behind it. That property we just vacated because it had people who weren't supposed to be there in there, and it has no utilities, and it at this point is not livable. So, like I said, if you see, you know, anybody express interest, you see these properties, you get complaints about these properties, please reach out and I can let you know what the status is. But
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Can I ask you if, I know before, I think Cecilia had mentioned an issue with, some of the houses have people and, you know, as far as that rent thing, did they get that? Like, is that being collected aside, or, I mean,
That's a private legal issue.
gotcha.
The Lanes did have a property manager. Unfortunately, he passed away. There was a subsequent
Oh, boy.
person who was collecting the rent and presented himself as the property manager, but really, we don't believe he had any authority to act in that capacity. So at this point, the best bet is to deal directly with the guardian.
That's good. Boy, that's a big, many layers to this onion. Yeah, thank you.
You can ask a question, but will you go to the speaker?
Yeah, just a simple question.
Ryan Lentzel, I live on Main Avenue. Is there any way that we could have a more formal public process to making those properties available to people, maybe bunching 5 of them together and then having like an auction type event, or?
No, they're
Po-
not our properties.
What's that?
They're not our properties, and they're owned by an individual who is still living, while he
Right.
does have a guardian. So the guardian has to make all of the decisions that are, excuse me, in the best interest of his ward. So for all intents and purposes, the guardian substitutes in all decision-making for Mr. Lane. As for the properties that are within the estate, Sarah Lewis is handling those properties, but we don't have any say-so.
So when you were referring to the counselors to direct people for the purchases, you mean in a more informal way? You're just telling them to seek
We just
solutions outside the,
No, we just pass the names along to the
Right,
guardian.
right.
The guardian has a local attorney here who's handling all of the proper, so essentially that attorney is acting as
Right.
I don't want to say broker, that's not the right term, but he's facilitating with the guardian. Here are the people we have interested in these properties. You know, how would you like to handle it? And it's up to the guardian to make those decisions.
yeah, so it's informal. It's not something, yeah, I gotcha. All right, thank you.
So it's listed here, our next meeting is December 3rd. I know that we're gonna have a organizational meeting,
December 1st.
so we're taking the month of December off.
Yeah. So this in January?
Huh?
So the tree stuff in January?
Yes. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? No?